Okay, this is lesson 9, Operation Quilt, and we're going to review some of the same skills that we've done leading up to this point. So this is mainly about knowing what operation to do and when. We have a quilt order, and the first block of the quilt design is x times x minus 4. So we're just going to distribute. We get x squared minus 4x. For the second block in the design, we have a binomial times a binomial, so we're going to double distribute. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Now we're going to share the 5 plus 5x, and then 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. We're going to go ahead and combine like terms for a final answer of x squared plus x minus 20. Now, okay, so in my quilt design, I want 10 of these. So I show that by doing 10 times x squared minus 4x. And then I want 15 copies of this. So that's going to be 15 times the x squared plus x minus 20. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to handle the distribution on each of the problems. So I'm going to distribute the 10. So 10x squared minus 40x. And then I'm going to do 15 times x squared, which is plus 15x squared, plus 15x minus 300. Okay, and then we end up with, after combining like terms, the 10 goes with the 15, which makes, oh, sorry, I misread the problem. They wanted 12 of these. Okay, so we need 12 of these, so that's a 12x squared minus 48x. Okay, sorry, I misread the number there. So 12x squared and the 15x squared combined make 27x squared. Remember, when you add, you don't change the exponent. I have a negative 48x plus 15, which makes negative 33x. And then the negative 300 is not with anybody. Okay, now they want to know the dimension. So they want to know the length and width of the quilt. So they want to know the factor of 27x squared minus 33x minus 300. These are huge numbers, so I want to see if I can decrease them at all to make it a smaller number that I'm trying to factor. And I notice that all of these are factors of 3, so I'm going to divide everybody by 3. And when I do that, I end up with 9x squared minus 11x minus 100. Okay? Now my numbers are still big, but there's nothing that will divide 9, 11, and negative 100. So using my factoring method, AC is 9 times 100, so negative 900, and my B is negative 11. Okay? Now, I don't know about you, but all the factors of 900, there's a lot of factors. And I don't want to sit there and test them all. So today, I'm going to show you how to have the calculator go ahead and test those for you. So, you're going to go ahead and you're going to press Y equals on your calculator. And we want to know the factors of negative 900. So I type in negative 900 divided by x. So what it's going to do is it's going to take every number and keep dividing negative 900 by it and giving me the answer. To get my negative 11, I know I need to add my 2 factors. So this only gives me one of the factors. So I want to find the second factor. And the way I do that is my x and my answer to y1. So I'm going to put x, and I want my answer to y1. Now y is a variable, so I'm going to hit the vars button, which is for variables. I want y, so over to y variables. It's a function, and I want y1. So what it's going to do is it's going to, as it searches each of these x's, it's then going to add it to the answer to this problem to give me my sum. I'm going to go to second graph to go to the table of values, and this is my 2 factors that make 900 in the black and in the blue. and I am looking for a sum of negative 11. So I search through, and the red column, when it hits negative 11, my two factors are 25 and negative 36. Okay, so this is going to be 25 and negative 36. So the 25 and negative 36 are going to replace that negative 11. Okay, so I have 3, and I had the 9x squared minus 11x minus 100. And when I factored it out, I'm going to ignore this 3 for right now. I have 9x squared. And my two factors were 25 and negative 36. And which one matches better with 9? The negative 36. So I'm going to write that first, followed by the 25x. Know that these two make my negative 11 minus 100. What do I do next? I group them. So here's group 1, here's group 2. What do 9 and 36 have in common? They're both divisible by 9. They both contain an x. There we go. What they have in common goes on the outside, and then I divide them each by the GCF, by the common term. And 9x squared divided by 9x is just x. Negative 36x divided by 9x is a negative 4. 25 and 100, what do they have in common? 25. Now, if I had only recognized 5, when I divide, I'll notice that my parentheses don't match, so then I would try for a higher factor. But in this case, I know it's 25. I'm going to divide them both by 25. 25x divided by 25 is x. Negative 100 divided by 25 is negative 4. I do my little happy dance because my parentheses match. So that makes my factors the x minus 4 for my two parentheses. And then my outside numbers make my second parenthesis, 9x plus 25. And if you remember, way back in the beginning of that problem, we factored out a 3. So it goes out in front. Okay, let's move on. Okay, same thing, but now we're looking at a second quilt. And this quilt is going to have 3 different designs in it. So again, they're just having us practice each of the different multiplications. X times x minus 2 is x squared minus 2x. X plus 6 times x minus 2 is x squared plus 4x minus 12. Remember, it's a double distribute. I did not show my work. I just showed you the final answer. The same for C. It's going to be x squared plus x minus 6. I want 10 copies of the first, so 10 times x squared minus 2x. I want 16 copies of the next pattern, so 16 times x squared plus 4x minus 12. And then I would like 8 copies of the last one, x squared plus x minus 6. So I'm going to do each of my individual distributions. So this one is 10x squared minus 20x. The next one is 16x squared plus 64x minus 192. And the last one is 8x squared plus 8x minus 48. Now I'm going to combine like terms. I have a 10x squared and a 16x squared. That's 26x squared plus 8 makes it 34x squared. I have a negative 20 plus 64, so 64 minus 20 is 44, plus 8 makes it plus 52. Sorry, I forgot my squared there. 52x. And then I have this negative 92 and negative 48. Because they're both negative, I'm going to add them and keep the negative, so negative 240. Okay? So that is my simplified version of the quilt to the material needed. Okay, 2 questions to go. Here we go. The customer canceled their order for quilt 1. They're going to use that fabric to make quilt 2, but they need to know how much more to order. So quilt 2 was worth 34x squared plus 52x minus 240. This was quilt 1. I'm sorry, quilt 2. Quilt 1 was worth, I have to go back and make sure I didn't mix up my numbers. Okay, so hold on. That one was, okay. And quilt 2 was the 27. Okay. 27x squared minus 33x minus 300. And I got that from part C, problem number 1. Now, this is the total I need to make quilt 2. I have this much fabric because the person canceled their order. I want to know how much more fabric I need to purchase. So I want to know the difference. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract. 34 minus 27 is 7x squared. 52 minus a negative 33 is 85. And negative 240 minus a negative 300 is plus 60. So this is how much more fabric I need to complete the quilt. Okay, final question. Again, looking at quilt 2. They want us to look at quilt 2. So that was 34x squared plus 52x minus 240. I have this much fabric in stock. I want to make 2 quilts, and I want to know how much each quilt will get. So I'm going to make 2 of the same quilt. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to divide everybody by 2. And that gives me 17x squared plus 26x minus 120 is what I'm going to use for each